But I think it's so true, Barney. We've had such unbelievable times off the field, and that's certainly what you miss as well. And we sort of reminisce now about it. But there's also been a lot of, well, not a lot of, but some bad experiences off the field as a team as well. And the one that sticks out, which if ever I had an injury at a good time, it was that time, and that was Staaldraad. Now, a lot of people know about Staaldraad. Both of you were there. I'm going to throw it to both of you. Yeah. Any stories that sticks out, the best story from Staaldraad? I can remember at the back of the bus for how many years we used to talk about Staaldraad and things that happened there. Share, now's the time to share.
That all happened from the start for me. So we were obviously on this bus. John, he obviously got a tip off or overheard something. So he actually snuck in the inside of his cap. He snuck in
food,
a lighter. A lighter to make fire with, because he realized, okay, we're gone. So he got a little lighter inside his cap, but we were bare feet. We had to strap our feet up. We were in like normal rugby shorts and like one of those big old training jumpers, the oversized ones. And we had to strip down naked just outside. We got transported from a bus to a truck. So they like sort of checked, everyone's there, nothing extra. Next moment, we had to get dressed, and as we were climbing back onto this bus, onto the truck now, Bakkies Boerta just let out this enormous fart. Massive fart, and everyone's laughing. Next moment, like 10 gunshots went over our heads. Pop, 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 pop. And we all just dropped to the deck, and then we just basically leopard crawled along this gravel road, and that's where I was like, this is a different type of camp. This is not your normal rugby camp.
This is real.
Yeah, this is real.
We gotta give credit, because man, I think we'll be telling these Kamp Staaldraad stories for many years. It's almost like it was our very small, congested army, a year of army or 2 years of army. But Scalla, flip the memories from that. I mean, the chicken story. I mean, when we had to do tug of war. We obviously weren't allowed to eat. We were allowed to drink water as much as you want, but in the waters is these things like swimming around. It wasn't that quick. And so we get said, no, there's a tug of war, and the winning team gets the chow. So I'm going to give you guys one guess to guess whose team won the tug of war.
Barney's team.
Yeah, Barney was the anchor. He's the anchor, obviously.
Next thing, this box arrives of two things. Inside there's 2 live chickens. So the coach at the time decides that the 2 oaks least educated would be the Soties that would never have been on a farm and don't know how to kill a chicken, etc. And I must say, if the SPCA had been there, it would have been a lot to answer for. So he hands the first chicken over to Joe, and he says, Joe, now let's just put Joe. Let's put Jables into perspective here. If you'd asked Joe where chicken comes from, I promise you, he probably would have said Nando's. That's how. That was sort of where he was, and he manhandled this poor chicken till eventually Joost felt a great amount of pity for the chicken and then finished the job for him. But that 3 days was so filled with stories of, I mean, remember crawling through that hole into the ground, into a dark pit, and then hearing the haka. Was it the haka?
Hours on end and getting sprayed with water.
No, so there was a plastic cover, and then every now and again, if we got too restless or too quiet, they'd spray us with freezing cold water. But the most difficult part of that entire process was I got in a little bit like early. So I sat in the first row. So everyone else would then sit around this circle, and there would be levels higher. And lo and behold, as Dal Sanson filed in, completely stark naked, we had to huddle and get warm, and all I remember is his Vos and 2 veg hanging right here on my shoulder for the entire duration. And I didn't want to say anything because it did keep my shoulder nice and
I just remember like we were stuck in this dam as well in the morning for ages, and then from the dam we went into like we had a fight. So I was against Corne Krieger. I think you were against Christo Bezuidenhout, was it?
foot, yeah.
My foot. But I just remember like all our Cape Town blokes standing there, and Corner was now like our go-to man, and I saw Selborne Boom was opposite, and then he started sneaking around. So Selborne was coming all around, and I was sitting next to Corner. I was meant to box Corner the next, and he was like, surely we're not doing this, eh? This is barbaric, we're not fighting. And then Corner as well, like, I think so, and Boomer just like sort of cruised all the way back, and that's where it became real for all of us. We had a full-on punch-up, and then straight after that, you know, we did our fights. But then the standout fight for me was the lightweight fight against Brayton Paulse and Derek Hougaard. They went last, flyweights, and they were just like sort of, obviously had a little agreement, we're not going to hurt each other, and they were shooting these little pew shooters. And then the next moment, Rudolph jumped in, said, no, we've got to punch each other. Truth, straight after that, Brady lands a big lefty, Derek flat on his back. Hy's off, my neus is gebreek, it's gone. Anyway, we get there, only to open it, and there's nothing wrong with him. Yeah, boop, back up, and then they just carried on. But she's crazy times, man.
But didn't Derek also at the start, so each guy had a number, right?
Yeah.
So let's say he was number 78 or whatever, and you guys were sort of lined up, and then he sort of put up his hand, he said, 007 or whatever, 78 here, do you have some sunscreen for us?
He's like, so I was,
guys are shooting at you, and he's wanting sunscreen.
And the reply was, 78, there's people busy dying, starving of hunger, shooting at each other, and you want sunscreen, back in line. And Derek just screws back.